Good morning, Natalie and Tony. How are you guys?
Yeah, we're good.
Yes, we're really, really well, thank you. Perhaps a lot better than Erik Ten Hag, who'll be thinking this morning, how have we missed out on Cody Gakpo?
Yeah, well, especially because of Erik, coming from Holland and knows Cody Gakpo really, really well. So, yeah, it's an interesting thing. But obviously, Liverpool has got a steal, in my opinion, for 37 million. Obviously, again, another attacking option for Liverpool, something that Ten Hag is short of.
René, we had Didier Man on earlier, and he talked about him that he could play that forward, like attacker midfielder, because he's so versatile. Do you see a similar situation for him as a player?
He can do, although I do think his best option or his best position, and that's where he played at PSV, is on the left-hand side coming in. He's very good. He's very good in taking the ball, taking players on, bringing it inside, and then have a shot. Although at some point it might be a little bit, too predictable if he keeps doing that, and especially in the Premier League, you can't get away with that at that level. But that's why I think Van Gaal has positioned him in a different position in the Dutch national team, and he scored 3 or 4 goals.
So you think he has all the attributes to be a success in the Premier League?
From a technical and physical point of view, yes. But to be successful in the Premier League, it is more the mental side that needs to be right, because you have to perform week in, week out, every game. It's not like you're having a few good games and then you can just wind off a little bit. Well, we saw the same thing with Memphis Depay. I got asked the same question. And I said, those players play in top teams in Holland where they can go out there and 7 of the 8 games, they can win it on 60 to 70%. You saw it yesterday in the Premier League, 7 games, and only one home team won. Only one home team.
Yeah.
And that says it all for me. That says it all.
Yeah. René, Ten Hag spoke about the attacking options at Man United, and it's really weird because if you look at the players, you go from Martial to Anthony, Elanga, Garnacho, Ronaldo, who's now obviously parted from the club. No one seems to have nailed down positions at Manchester United. Is that one of the biggest issues?
It is, I think, because as you know, Tony, when you played and you played in a team and you've got set out players in certain positions, you get consistency. And then you get patterns, you get routine. Everybody knows what to do, what the strengths are. If you were a striker and we've got a great right winger that puts a perfect cross in, you can time your run, etc. But if that unpredictability, which is a great weapon in some ways, but it can work against you if it's not, linked in with all the other players. But Ten Hag nails it on the head by saying, listen, he hasn't got players constantly available. And Martial has been in there, in and out, and so does other players. So that's a big concern for him.
14 games then into the Ten Hag Premier League reign, shall we say. What have you made of the Manchester United that we're seeing now?
I think you can see the clear ideas that he has, and I think he's firm with it. All this now, and that's with every other manager before that, whether it's before Ten Hag, whether you talk about not as much Rangnick, but Solskjaer and all that, it comes back to the same thing. You need consistency in the performances and consistency in the results. They are thereabouts, but they could also, if they don't really get those consistent results, drop again away from it where you don't want to be, because they want into that mix, into the top 4 and further than that. He will be okay with where he is, but he won't be content. He wants more for sure.
And one area of the pitch you can say there's been a massive change is the midfield, because if you go Casemiro, Eriksen and Fernandes, there's a 3 there that what you talked about earlier about the consistency and knowing the players you play around.
Well, absolutely. But you talk, in my opinion, you talk about 3 absolutely, very, very, very good players. I don't like to use the word world class too often, Tony, because I think it's sometimes a bit misused, but very, very, very good players. And United should be able to play with them 3 in the midfield. I mean, they always talk about put Fred in or McTominay in because defensively. I mean, come on, if everybody does the defensive job, you want to get your best players on the pitch. And scoring goals, to talk about, we've got problems in the front line, but really scoring goals, yes, that's the final bit of it. The players that create chances of putting the end of the net. But if you look at the goals scored, you look at what can I get from the front line, what can I get from the midfielders, and what can I get from my back line, maybe in set pieces and all that. But all have to contribute. Build-up starts from the back. etc. And then the midfielders come in to link the play to the forward. So everything is sort of linked in, so to speak. But those three are very important for United.
Not long until the January transfer window opens. Seems they have now missed out on Gakpo. Where else do you think then they should be looking to strengthen in positionally wise in the team?
Well, I think everybody knows with Ronaldo leaving and with all the problems and all the negativity that it brought on both the club and Ronaldo, which is a shame because he's been a fantastic player, fantastic career, fantastic servant for the club, and still he scored a lot of goals, especially in the season before Ten Hag came. But that's gone. That's by the by. The good thing is there's clarity now. They have to move on, but they have to be really, really spot on with bringing in the right striker for the club that can play at that level of the Premier League week in, week out, and can be supplement to the attacking force on the wide areas they already have and the midfield behind them. So who that is, I wouldn't know at the moment. I'm sure they were looking at players, but they have to get it right.
Well, René, it's quite funny because when I'm sure all the friends you talk to in football, we all sort of talk and say they need a centre forward, and everyone, well, there isn't many out there. And that's the problem of the quality that you're talking about for playing for a club like Manchester United.
No, absolutely. And if there's somebody out there, and as soon as Manchester United come knocking on the door, the price will go up. I don't know how much. So. But that's the important thing, your scouting process has to be good. And in fairness, if you look at Liverpool now getting Gakpo again, they've been very direct in the actions. They had obviously Diaz last January, I think, who was a revelation at Liverpool. Unfortunately, he's obviously injured, but when you have your targets, you need to make sure that the scouting team or whoever is involved can do the business, effectively and good.
But it was well known that they wanted Gakpo with Erik Ten Hag's connection to the Eredivisie as well. Do you think this is a case of just, United dragging their feet in the transfer market, just being a bit slow in trying to get this one done, or that actually, I'm sorry, it's just out of playing devil's advocate here, that maybe Liverpool just have more of a pull right now than Manchester United?
That could be the case, Natalie. I honestly do think that necessarily Manchester United are missing out on really something massively, because I think it would have probably even caused even more of a problem. Because, like I said, Gakpo is more a natural left winger coming in, and if you put him centrally, then again you come into the Eriksen and Fernandes areas, and he's not an out striker. Yeah, and when you put him on the right-hand side, you're going to get the same problems as what Marcus Rashford had at Man United. So I don't necessarily think they are missing out on something. They need to get the right player that really complements, the attacking threat they have in the wide areas in the centre. A player that can link up the play, that can run in behind, that is picking up the scraps in the box, that can score those goals. That type of player. But as Tony says, there's not too many around.
No, and also there are players there, that we still expect more from Sancho, but that we have to wait and see what will happen with him, because Erik Ten Hag has made it clear that physically, mentally, he's not quite ready for the Premier League. And also, what about the resurgence of Marcus Rashford? Are you expecting a sort of bigger second half from him of the season?
That would be great, because no, absolutely, because I know Marcus since he was a little kid running around at the cliff, when he was 7, 8, 9 years of age, and he's now a senior player, and I do think if there is somebody that probably could play that striker role as well, it is Marcus. I really do. But sometimes you have to give him the time and the trust, and to say, okay, I'm going to play you in that position a number of times, because as everybody's got the confidence back, and like Marcus went through a difficult spell, but he got it back, and he got it back with England. He scored some really good goals and important goals, and he would do exactly the same for United.
René, it's always a pleasure to chat to you. Thank you for sparing the time.
No problem.
Happy New Year to you.
Yeah, same to you guys.
Cheers.
René Meulensteen, former Manchester United first-team coach, then joining us this morning here on talkSPORT Breakfast.
talkSPORT Breakfast, waking you up Monday to Friday morning from 6 a.m. on AM, on DAB, via the talkSPORT app and on your smart speaker. talkSPORT.